Welcome to Season 4 of She Lancer, Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. I'm your host, Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and this podcast are the audio versions of my live Q&A chats on YouTube. If you'd like to be part of the live Q&A chats, come on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. I'm live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. EST. We talk about voiceover, the business of voiceover, audiobooks, and so much more. Find more information on my website, voiceoverangela.com. Enjoy today's episode. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again for another live chat here on my channel. I almost said Q&A. Well, I guess it is a Q&A, isn't it? Thank you for spending the time with me to get together in these community chats. I really do appreciate it. For those of you that are new here, my name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you things that I do every day in my own voiceover business, tips, tricks, techniques, ways I fall on my face. And then I share them with you here in these community chats and, in the videos that I share on my channel. And of course, my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started out. So hopefully they do help. I'm hoping they help. It sounds like they help. Anyway, getting distracted squirrel. If you're not new here, then every week we have a new poll. And that poll is, if I can find the banner, here it is. Do you feel like when you're working towards your goals, that you're actually working towards your goals? Are you being productive in that time? Or are you just staying busy? Right? Do you just come into the studio and go, okay, I've got a lot of stuff to do today, and you just do stuff. You don't really do the things that you had outlined for yourself to get done to be productive in building your voiceover career. So I see Dwight is here, but I don't know how much he's going to be able to contribute. This is right up your alley, Dwight. We're talking about productivity today. So what we're going to do is talk about some techniques, some things you can do to kind of stay on top of what needs to get done every day, to keep moving forward, to keep building, to keep on task, and to keep on track of or on top of all of the things that need to be done, right? So you don't fall behind in building your website, building out your profiles, refreshing your demos, whatever it is, getting that audiobook done on top of everything else. There's a lot to do. So it's important to stay on task. So in regards to the poll, we have about 28 votes so far. And it looks like 21% of you said yes every day. You're working towards your goals and not just staying busy. 54% of you said yes, but I could do better. I think that's where most of us probably sit. 28% of you said no, I'm sort of lost. So I'm hoping that something said today will help get you out of that place where you are lost. And again, I thank everybody here that contributes. If you have a technique that you use that works, then please put it in the comments and I'll be sure to share with everyone else. For me, if you've watched me for any length of time, you know that I live and die by my agenda book that sits on my desk. I don't have it linked in the video, but maybe I can link it later. But it's in my recommended gear section of my website, voiceoverangela.com. The same one that I use. But before I get to that, how to use that specifically, we need to get to how do we prioritize? How do we plan? How do we make sure that we're focusing our probably little precious time on the things that are the most important, right? So what I recommend doing is to focus on the 3 Ps. of productivity, right? The first one is planning. The second one is prioritizing. And then the third one is performing. So in the planning stage, what you need to do, and this could take some time, and I do recommend having like a legal pad or like a notepad or something on your desk in front of you at all times, because you never know when you're going to find something awesome, scrolling around in your groups or on videos that you watch on YouTube. But write everything down that you need to get done. And you will discover that there's probably a lot more that you need to get done as you go throughout your day, right? And visiting these groups and just day-to-day activities, you realize, oh gosh, I didn't even know I had to do that, right? So you're going to need something to write on. Or if you're good at keeping everything in like Google Sheets or something, you could do that too. But anyway, get it all out. Get it all down. Get everything written down that you need to get done. Not just in a day, but period. Everything that needs to be done. And then once you have everything written down, figure out which of those is going to be important, right? What needs your focus? That is the prioritizing stage. What is urgent? What is not so urgent? So on and so forth down the line. And then you could even go back to planning at that stage and start to plan out, okay, today I need to get this done because it's in the important category. And then tomorrow, we spend an extra 15 minutes planning out the next day, and even better the next day and the next day. If you want to plan out your week, right? The most important things get done first. And then tomorrow, maybe something not so urgent, or maybe that is equally urgent, right? And start to plan out your week, even your month if you have to. But take the time to do that. And you can also set a time or set aside time every day in which to do these things. I'm sure you know your schedule by now. I'm sure you know where you need to be at certain times of the day. So you can take those blocks of time and instead of scrolling through Instagram or instead of scrolling through TikTok or watching TV or whatever it is that you need to do, sacrifice that 2 hours of time, if you have it, hour of time, half hour of time, whatever it is. Write it down on your schedule. This time is now dedicated to what I need to get done. And this is what I need to get done, right? The important things. Even if it's just a piece of it, don't discredit yourself for spending that time getting that done, even if it's just a little bit. That's still progress. That's still moving forward, and that is the most important thing. Don't tell yourself, this isn't going to be much of a dent in this huge list of things. It is. You've heard that saying about eating an elephant, right? That's how you eat one bite at a time. So no matter how big and daunting your list of items to do is, you could still get it done one piece at a time, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1/2 hour at a time. It's still progress. It's still moving forward. So don't get down on yourself before you even get started. And then the last stage is perform, which is kind of what I was just talking about. Doing those tasks. Setting aside the time to do those tasks and actually do them with your full focus. Give them your full focus. And you concentrate on that task that you had written down for yourself in that time block until it's 100% done. So even knowing that maybe you only have a half an hour to do that, then make sure that you don't overload yourself or overwhelm yourself by giving yourself a task in that half an hour that's too much for a half an hour, right? So that goes back to the prioritizing. And you might have to juggle these around a little bit until things fit right for you and your schedule. But this is essentially the way that I have done this because, you know, as you guys know, I did not start this full time. I was working for someone else for 2 years while I was building this. And this is exactly how I did it. Just time allotment, focusing on what needed to get done first, and then working down the line to, less important things. I mean, everything is important, but, only you can determine what is urgent and what is not, and when you can fit that in, right? As we go along here, I'm sure we'll have some comments. We have some very intelligent people in the comment section, and I'm sure that they have some tips to share as well. But I wanted to ask you guys, as you probably know, I'm also on TikTok, and I'm thinking about going live on TikTok also while we do this, but it might be too much of a distraction. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we go live on TikTok and see if that works? I don't know. You guys let me know. I have it ready to go. I just need to hit go live, but I haven't decided if it's too much of a distraction. Should we try it? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Anywho, let's go over to the comments, and I'll wait for you guys to tell me what you think. All right, let's get rid of this, and let's go over to the comments. Who's first in? Paul. Actually, Paul was here before I even got into the studio. Paul says, good day all from an overcast Dunmow, Essex, UK. Unable to join you for the live session today. See, he wrote himself a note. No donuts, because technically he was early, but he wrote himself a note. He wrote himself a hall pass. Due to commitments to non-VO project, but looking forward to catching or watching later in the week. Well, hello, Paul. I'm sorry we missed you. Thank you for dropping the note. Caesar's here. Hello, Caesar. Caesar says, oh, hi, Angela. So before I met Dwight, who showed me how to organize my life into manageable segments, I had a lot of self-doubt. I used to work for people who took credit for my hard work. And that is something that I didn't really express with the whole productivity and planning out your day thing, is that this is another one of those things, although tedious, time-consuming, but the silver lining is that you get stuff done, which then in turn builds confidence, relieves some pressure, right? Because then you have a path, you have a direction. You know where to go. It's not like chaos, chaos, chaos anymore around your head. It's you have a clear path as to where to go. And that is one of the most important things, I think, about this process, is understanding that even though it's all chaos now, once you have sort of organized all of that chaos, you've herded all the cats into one place, and then you've determined which ones are most important to get done first, right? And then you start to strike through some of those things. This is done, this is done, this is done. That's a sense of accomplishment. Even those little moments when you have a sense of accomplishment can build your confidence. And if you get a little bit of that kick, that little confidence kick every day, that starts to build, your view of what you can do, right? It not only builds your confidence, but then you also feel stronger. You feel more accomplished. You feel like you're making that progress. You're getting somewhere. You're doing the thing, right? Even if it's not voiceover, if it's something else, you're getting it done. And that really helps your self-confidence and gets rid of some of that self-doubt. Super awesome. Thank you for bringing that up, Caesar. And whenever I felt I needed even a little recognition for my output, I was always told to stay in my place. To them, I was always just the tech guy. Excuse me for the frog. To them, I was always just the tech guy. They were the entrepreneurs. That's unfortunate. And therefore, to them, I was less important. And for a while, that made sense to me until it didn't. And when I started getting into VO, I soon realized that mindset had to change. But it took time. And mindset is a big thing for everyone. Not just voiceover, but everyone and everywhere. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Caesar says I might get inundated with comments. Yeah, probably with TikTok. I just saw your comment. Should definitely do it. Yeah. Split feeling. Yeah. I don't want to feel like I'm taking time away from you guys because you guys made the effort to come here. So maybe I'll do something separate for TikTok. Yeah, I don't want to take that time away from you guys. Let me just turn this off. Yeah. Yeah. I never could do what others did. Jump in headfirst into a new endeavor. I felt I needed to get everything right. I obsessed over details. You're not alone in that, Caesar. I would start something and tear it down in frustration. Yeah, I think many times we shoot for 100% perfect, which leads to imposter syndrome. That is a aspect of imposter syndrome, is wanting to get everything done or correct 100% of the time. But we have to keep in mind that there is no such thing as perfect. Perfect is subjective. Perfect is going to have a different definition for everyone. So there really is no such thing as perfect. So if we shoot for 90%, that might help. Shoot for 90%. Because you can't be expected to know everything about everything all the time. Right? If you shoot for 90% perfect, because you're still learning. We never stop learning. But the 100% perfect perfectionism is something that really, I think, fuels the imposter monster. And it needs to go away. Mindset change. I would scold myself harshly when I felt like I've made a mistake. I wouldn't trust myself in making unique and radical decisions in my VO performance or my audio engineering. I was constantly afraid. Which of course led to comparisonitis and imposter syndrome. Kept telling myself to roll back and reevaluate, make sure everything is just right. I would often sit at my desk and freeze for hours. Then I met the right people. Once I opened and said I hoped to get my sound just right, a member in Platinum said, I imagine it has been that way for a while now. And he was right. I learned other things, that I could trust my instincts, that I could stop worrying about my output, that I could give myself credit, that I could use my ability to move myself forward. So recently I've done a lot to help others and have reassured myself that if my talent can shape other people's futures, it can shape mine. So I'm doing that now. I'm a voice actor, a sound engineer, a web developer, a writer, and social media strategist. I have completed a book, created effects racks, my website, my web copy, and my content calendar. I wish I had half those skills, Caesar. But it took a lot of time, a lot of psychological recovery, and a community of supportive people for me to get to where I am now. I likely wouldn't have survived without it. That said, hello, Angela. Hello, everyone. I've had an author reach out to me directly from my socials and will receive an audition script soon. She said I may be the solution to her unique problem. Oh, here's a continuation. She needed someone who could do 4 accents for her romance series. American, British, Scottish, and Filipino. As it turns out, I can do all 4 in my sleep. So I'm excited for more work. That's awesome. See, social media. Get out there on social media. Social media. Do it. Eric. Hello, Eric. Good morning, Eric. Hello. In regards to the question, I know there's a lot I could do, but instead of procrastinating, I suffer from procrastination. Pure and simple. And haha, no donuts this time. Yeah. No donuts needed. You were on time. You were here before I was even here, so I wish I could give you a donut, but I don't have any. Yes. Coffee. Okay, where do we leave off here? Here we go to Caesar. Eric said, or to Eric, I tried one of your donuts and I woke up in a dumpster in Chattanooga, missing my shirt, wallet, and left shoe. And a monkey. D. Hort says, I am now officially doing this full time. I have demos I have yet to market. I have a website I'd like to improve, but I am also somewhat of a perfectionist. Tips? Thoughts? Yes. I think going back to what we just discussed about trying to get rid of the 100% perfect ideology, the thought process of trying to be 100% perfect. Because, again, what you consider to be 100% perfect, actually even 90% perfect for you, could be 100% perfect to someone else. Right? I think we forget that when we are trying to, whatever it is, if we're trying to build something, we're trying to, for voiceover audiobook narration, we're trying our best to be perfect. But what we keep forgetting is that the skills that we have honed, that we have nurtured, are our own. And no one else can do it the way that we can. Because everything that we are is what makes us unique. Our perspectives, the way that we do things, the way that we narrate a book, the way that we record a commercial, whatever it is, even if it's non-VO related. And a lot of other people can't do what you do. And I think we forget that. We forget that we all have individual skill sets and levels of those skill sets from person to person to person. So when we are striving for 100%, you're really just shooting yourself in the foot. Because even your 70% is probably 100% to someone else who doesn't know anything about what you're doing or what you're talking about. So I think the perfectionism thing, trying to be 100% perfect, is just fueling that imposter monster. It really is. And then, comparisonitis and everything else that goes along with it. We all just need a mindset change. We need a mindset change. We need to stop focusing on things that, that are out of our control or that don't really matter, in the end. Good enough. I'm comfortable with this. I'm satisfied. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm satisfied with this. This is fair. This is just. I'm satisfied. Right? Florida D says, good morning, y'all. Good morning to you, Florida D. Dwight says, good morning from Major. Is that where you are right now? Donnie says, morning, my favorite people. Good morning to you, Donnie. Dwight then says, hello, lurking from the road home, 3 days to go. That's awesome, Dwight. Enjoy your time out, exploring. Enjoy that time. Caesar says, oh, hi, Dwight. How's vacation and everything? Sounds like it's going well. Jim said, good morning from Memphis. Good morning to you, Jim. Coach Ariel says, yes, productive. And yes, it sometimes feels endless busyness. Yet every day, keep moving mostly joyously. Yes. And I think the busyness is when the busyness comes in, I think mostly when we are distracted. We're unfocused. We're not focused on what needs to be done. We're just kind of on autopilot, perhaps. And that kind of goes along with procrastination, I would think, is that we're not focused. That maybe it's not so much that we don't want to do what we need to do. We're just unfocused. And I think if you're unfocused, then you need the break. Take a break and then refocus on what you want. I think that's probably what needs to happen. So you don't just, throw away hours of the day, every day, procrastinating on what to do or what you should be doing or what you want to do. Just take that break, regroup, think it over, and then get refocused on what needs to be done, and then go do it. Alex says, still working on figuring out when my studio time will be around all the home and regular work needs. Negotiations. Negotiations ongoing between my wife and the part of me that feels like I need to be with the kids. I totally get the parent guilt and, feeling like you're neglecting your family. I totally get that. I went through that too. It's tough, but if your partner is supportive of your, of what you're doing, of your endeavor, of what you're trying to accomplish, then they should understand that this time, this part of this is mainly temporary. I'm assuming, regular work needs. Yeah. I'm assuming that you're still employed, by someone else, that you're still working and then doing this part-time. If they understand that this is just a temporary thing, that one day you will be full-time and you'll be able to recoup that time and spend more time with them. It was hard. It was really hard. Feeling like I was neglecting them. But luckily they understood. They supported me. And I got through it. And then somewhere between 1.5 years and 2 years, I don't know exactly. But I was able to go full time and then spend all the time that I needed to with them. So, having a supportive partner is everything. Janelle said, "Hey, Angela. Hey, everyone. I'm usually productive, but give myself time for a break, then back at it. LOL. If I'm not recording, then I'm prepping or taking classes or working on business things." That's good. What kinds of business things? But yeah, I mean, to your point, breaks are necessary. I think taking a break is where you can just kind of rejuvenate, rest, recuperate, whatever it is that you need to do, and then refocus. Take 10 minutes, after you're refreshed and you recognize you're refreshed and need to get back to work. Before you get back to work, take 10 minutes, excuse me, and sit somewhere quiet and maybe even, I guess, meditate, or just spend the time with your eyes closed somewhere where it's quiet and you can focus on what needs to be done so you can get it done without further procrastinating, right? And I know some of you probably go, "Oh, meditation, that's too woo-woo." No, but seriously, it'll make a difference. It'll make a big difference if you can take 10 minutes even every day before you even get started, while the coffee's brewing, whatever it is. Take, sorry guys. Froggy today. I don't know if it's the allergies or what. There's something going on outside that my body doesn't like. But take 10 minutes to sort of get yourself back together, get your focus aligned on what needs to be done. I feel like I'm just losing my train of thought everywhere. Sorry, guys. Pamela says, "Good morning. Close to closing on the new home. Congratulations. An entire room for VO? Dude, that's awesome." Hang on, y'all. I got to turn on the air conditioner. It's getting hot in here. Woo. Starting to sweat. Yes, I have my thermostat on. It's one of those Nest. So I can turn the air conditioner on from my studio, which is everything. That's awesome, Pam. Congratulations. Jim says, "Good God, So sorry, guys. Jim says planning has to be a daily thing because there is always something not related that takes out the time. It should be a daily thing. It should be, I mean, not only when you get your task for today done, but then spending an extra 10, 15 minutes in making sure that you have something planned for the next day, and even the next day, and the next day, and the next day, right? Because then if you don't have anything time blocked for you on that day, then guess what happens? No focus, no plan. You tend to just get in there and go, oh, well, meh, I'll just be busy. I'll just do something that is kind of doing something so I don't feel bad about myself, but it's not really moving the needle. It's not really moving you forward, right? Yeah, planning has to be a daily thing. Caesar says, congrats, Pam. That's very exciting. An entire room for VO will give you a unique and open sound with the right acoustic treatment. Yeah, Caesar, I'm sure Caesar's going to be all over that. Florida D says, every night I write out what I have to do the next day, constantly review my VO business plan to make sure I'm checking off the boxes. At the end of the day, review and adjust for the following day. Perfect. That right there is a plan, for sure. Voiceover Van Deen says, afternoon. You did bring the frog with you today. You did bring the frog with you. I'm old school and old. Pad, paper, and Post-its for things to do lists, whiteboard for the week's plans, jobs, and a desk diary, and a 1-year wall planner. I've got to be able to see stuff. I don't have all of that, but I have my desk planner that I keep in front of me that I also write notes on, but I also have legal pads in here that I write notes on. Stuff that I, don't want to forget, although most of the time I forget it anyway, because I too am old. But yeah, if you're one of those people that needs to have, much like Voiceover Van Deen, that has to have everything for a different purpose, focus, or like a snapshot of something in particular in front of you, then yes, I mean, ultimately do what you have to do. Do what you have to do to keep your eyes on the prize, to keep that focus. Because productivity there's a fine line between productivity and busyness. So do what you got to do to make sure that you're staying in the productivity category. Thank you for that. Coach Ariel says, you can experiment and see how it is. It's usually a split feeling for you and us, yet who knows. Oh, for the TikTok thing, yeah. TikTok is another vector to expand your business. Yeah. Don't go with it. A cup of tea says, it seems as though I'm making progress, just not as fast as I want, nor as consistently. However, I am changing that by making sure I can set aside proper time. Good. I think that is one of the things in the beginning that you should be doing is understanding how much time you have and where you can block out time within that time you have to focus completely and 100% on what needs to be done. I think that's part of the planning stage, for sure. Caesar says, regarding TikTok, it would depend on how much engagement you get there. If you can stream into TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, reach more folks, go for it, but you may potentially become inundated with comments. Yeah, StreamYard doesn't stream directly to TikTok. I would have to do it separately, and I think it would take my focus away. I don't want to do that. Jim says, my biggest confidence kick will be my first order to work. Absolutely. Also, you should also congratulate yourself and give yourself a little pat on the back for all the auditions that you've done. Because a lot of people get stuck at that pre-audition stage even. They don't want to take that step forward out of their comfort zone and do that first audition. So if you've submitted auditions, then congratulate yourself on that. That, in and of itself, is an accomplishment. That's an accomplishment that you should celebrate. In fact, celebrate every audition that you do submit, because that's another little baby step outside of your comfort zone. which builds you up for confidence, or builds up that confidence for that first job. Celebrate everything, all the small wins, I say. Celebrate them all. And even better yet, when you do get through the planning stage, the prioritizing stage, and the perform stage, and you get through, let's just say, a week, or even daily if you want to, why not? Reward yourself for getting that done. You could have a goal. Start Monday with your planning process. And then by Friday, if you get all of those things done every day that you had set aside time to get done, to completely 100% focus on, give yourself a reward. Why not? Do it every week, every month. I say daily. Why not? You could use that confidence kick, right? We all could. Do that. Reward yourself. Celebrate all the wins. Yeah. Donnie says, I was going hard and fast, then get burned out, so I rested for 2 days, and now I'm back at it. Good. And you have to. You don't want to go too fast and hard. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, because you will get burnt out. And then you'll lose the passion for it, because you are burnt out. You don't want to burn yourself out. Don't burn the candle at both ends. Rest. Recuperate. Jim says, what I get from coming here is way worth the time I spend. It's an investment in VO to be here. Well, I appreciate that. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Adekoya Gabriel, I think I said that right. I think I asked you that last time. Did I have it right again? Hello, Angela. You're looking good. Thank you. Based on your experience, what are the key things that gives you that edge or the probability of getting picked for a book narration? It's so funny because I think last week we even talked about this. Someone had asked the same thing, if there was a predictor for success. And there really isn't, other than your dedication and drive to sticking with it and getting it done. Meaning that you're doing the work, you're doing the auditions, you're marketing yourself, you're out there on social media, out there proactively, getting some clients. But the picking of the voice that fits is going to be, subjective from client to client. We don't know what voice they're looking for. All we have to go on is what perhaps filters they chose, words that they use to describe what they're looking for. They may not even be really 100% sure about what they're looking for. But if the author is the one looking for the narrator, they have a voice. They have like a narrator in their head, a narrator voice in their head. And that's what they're looking for most of the time. But we don't know what that is. We have no way of knowing what that is. So if you're getting out there, you're staying consistent with auditioning and staying in eyesight, you're staying in the line of sight, by marketing yourself, getting onto social media, doing all those things. You've made sure that your audio quality is good, right? You've gotten some feedback from peers or an audio engineer or what have you. If there aren't any glaring things that are keeping you from getting that work, then just keep going, staying consistent with auditioning until you cross paths with someone who is looking for your voice, or your voice matches the voice in their head when they were writing the copy, whether it be an audiobook or anything else. So there's no real way of knowing other than I can say just sticking with it. Consistency, drive, passion, those things. Florida D says, as far as shooting for perfect, just did my first 3 15-minute checkpoints on ACX. Good. Thanks to Caesar for the help. Personally, I didn't love them, but I'll see what the rights holders say. And that is another thing to keep in mind. I don't think I 100% love everything that I do. It's that imposter syndrome that tells me that I could have done something different. If if I spend any time redoing or just, going over what I did over and over again, then that is just fueling that imposter syndrome. So I give it a good couple takes. I choose the one that I best like, and then I send it. I don't ruminate on it. I don't go over it and over it and over it again, because I'll find things that I don't like about it, and then I'll never get it done. And ultimately, the funniest part of this is that ultimately it's not our opinion that matters. It's what the client says. It's what the client thinks. If the client loves it, that's all that really matters. Because it's their project, it's their words, it's their opinion that matters. We don't have to like what we do. Our opinion really doesn't matter. As long as we, technically speaking, if we did everything that we were supposed to do and we gave it our best shot and the client loves it, perfect. Done. Happy client. Florida D says, before I stress about it. Yeah, don't stress about it. It's done. It's turned in. Just wait and see what they say. Jim says, I only record 2 takes of a piece of copy unless I am having trouble reading it, then only add 1 more to have 2 decent takes. Main problem, starting and staying slow through a reading of anything. Yes, I think if you are a reader, especially if you're like an avid book reader, we tend to read fast. We get faster and faster the more that we read with our eyes. And as we're narrating out loud, we naturally want to go almost just as fast, but we can't do that, because if we're narrating too fast, then what we say may be too jumbled or hard to follow. We have to remember that the person listening to, especially for audiobooks, the person listening to us can't see the words and they can't follow along. They're counting on us to paint this picture. So we have to make sure that what we're saying is at a pace where they can follow, that we give nice dramatic pauses for them to reflect on what we just said, right? We have to remember that they can't see the words. We can, but they can't. Unless there's like an accompanying PDF or like it's WhisperSync or something, of course, but that's normally not the case. They're counting on us to paint that picture, so slow down. Adekoya says, based on your experience, I know you must have encountered a lot of authors. What do you think authors are really looking for in general, even though some authors are specific? It's really hard to say. They're all looking for something different. They're all looking for something that is in their head, which we cannot see. Again, just make sure that you're getting the training, that you're focusing on performance, that your audio quality is good. Everything else is going to just be up to the client on whether you fit or you don't. There's really no way of knowing. There's really no way of knowing. Mark says, good morning. Good morning, Angela and all. Good morning to you, Mark. I brought the Fireball donuts. Having been working on my VO journey for 30 years, as soon as I get to where I can excel, a crisis happens. I'm right there with you, Mark. Caesar says to Florida D, that's awesome. Could never do that. But happy I could help. Did you manage to get your laptop out of your recording space, by the way? Adekoya says, I enjoy your YouTube live a lot. It has really helped to be better. That is awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That I'm not just, yapping away and you guys are like, I'm glad it helps. Good morning, Rustic Hillbilly. Good morning. Glad to see you. Florida D says to Caesar, no, I didn't move it, but I have a plan to do so. I'll try to execute that this weekend. Primary job seems to want me to work. I hate it when they do that. But it definitely move anything noisy away from your microphone. That can only help you. Get rid of that noise floor. Caesar says, going back to multi-streaming, often what gets lost is being able to engage with your audience. Yeah. Once you reach a certain size, you have no choice but to breeze through comments or ignore them outright. Yeah, but I feel bad. I don't want to do that. Jim says, I love to do industrial copy because the pronunciation challenge is something I enjoy. Caesar says, to Florida D. Go for it. I found it tremendously helpful. You will need a monitor and peripherals in your booth, so you'll have to route them through a conduit or under your door if you have one. That's what I've done. I have my computer. Sorry, my hair's bugging me. I have a computer outside of my studio, and then I have all of my cables for my monitor, my interface, anything else that I need in here. All of those cables run under the door into this room. So the computer, which is noisy, stays outside. Eric says, hello, amazing Angela. Hello, Eric. I think self-doubt is a common trait in our industry. I think it's a common trait in a lot of places. I think it's just part of human nature, unfortunately. I hear a lot of that everywhere, all the time. Self-doubt. Negative self-talk, all over the place. You are the only one with your unique set of abilities and background. Dive in. Believe in yourself. Get involved with a talented and supportive community like Angela's Platinum Group. Oh, so helpful. If someone with Caesar's amazing talents has self-doubt, then don't believe your own self-doubt. Get feedback and begin. Yes. Melissa Harlow. Hi, Angela from San Diego. Well, hello, Melissa. Thanks for joining. Caesar to Florida D says, in the interim, try positioning your laptop behind your mic. It's cardioid, so it's most sensitive to sound directly in front of it and rejects sounds from the sides and the back. Oops. Coach says, exhaling with that, Angela, being satisfied and quieting the perfectionism monster. Yeah. I think we probably bin perfectly good projects all the time because it's not perfect. When it doesn't have to be. Because our opinion doesn't really matter. And we're probably being way too hard on ourselves anyway. So just shoot for satisfied, or 90%. Dehort says, do you feel like your audition read can be great and you still may not get the job? So you shouldn't spend lots of time trying to make it perfect. A productive day has a limited amount of time. Yes, I think any audition, even if you are super happy with it, like you feel like you nailed it, doesn't mean you'll get the job. Again, it's not up to us. It's up to the client. And if our voice and our energy or whatever it is doesn't fit what they're looking for. So knowing that it's not anything that you are not or are doing will determine whether or not you get the job. It's completely out of your hands. The best thing you can do is be there for it, is to submit the audition. That's really the only thing you can do. Just make sure that you understand the copy, you understand what the client is asking for, and give it your best take, submit it, and move on. Move on to the next one. Don't sit and listen to it 15 times and go, oh my God, no. Give it your best take. Make sure, again, that you have a firm understanding of what they're looking for. Give it your best take, submit it, move on to the next one. Because in that time that you spend ruminating or re-editing or retaking or, spending so much time on this one audition, you could have had 10 other ones done. And the likelihood of a job coming out of one of those 10 is much higher than just that one that you spent all of that time on. So submit it, move on. Move on to the next one. Caesar says to Eric is right. Don't believe in your own self-doubt. Often that stems from something you need to excise and toss in the bin or the void. I vote for the void. Whichever happens to be within reach at the time. Florida D says, D-Hort, I agree. I believe what many say about the numbers game. The more times you're at bat, the more chance you have to hit the ball. Now I need to figure out the demo thing. And don't make the demo super complicated. It's really just a compilation of samples. Just pick your best samples and put them together in a demo and, make them specific if you want to. Make an audiobook demo. Make a commercial demo. Make an IVR demo. And move on. Because those aren't going to be the same forever either. You will get better as you go. Just inherently, we always just get better the more practice we have at something. So those demos that you make today, you might be replacing in a month from now anyway. So just get it done. Just get it done. Joy says, hello, Angela and company from cloudy Southfield, Michigan. I take too long working on one audition trying to make it perfect. Exactly. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're wasting your time. I know it's perfectionism syndrome, but it's hard to stop doing that. Coach Ariel says the frog in throat is grabbing at your focus. It is. It is. Melissa says, my garden is my meditation, and it really works to do it first thing in the morning. Gets my blood going, and I feel accomplished. Then going into my VO, I feel on top of it. Oh, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. I wish I had a garden. That sounds amazing. Alex Jensen says, I am lucky enough to have a supportive wife, but do still have a full-time job. Looking forward to full-time VO work. Good. Good. You're already on the right path. You're in a good place, I should say. Donnie says, the audio gods have given me a breather, so time to finish my Fiverr and Upwork profiles, then scrap my website and start over. Meditation is so necessary. My Zen is on my motorcycle. I'm thinking of, I am going to take a motorcycle course. I'm thinking of getting my own motorcycle. Jim says, finding things to fit into small blocks of time. I have learned not to record and edit same day unless it's a small group of demos. Editing wears me out. That I get. But especially if we're talking about like auditions, they need to be done on the same day. You need to get them done, get them submitted. Unless we're talking about audiobooks, then I get that too. Because if you spend a long time narrating, you don't want to spend a long time editing. It is exhausting. You can break that up. But for auditions, it should take you 10 minutes to do an audition. 10 minutes. Coach Ariel says, sick without voice, so met with audio engineer friend to sort the click smack mouth issue in my recording. She said she didn't hear it. Exactly. Yet I cranked volume too high, assuming client might too. Wrong. No, we can't unhear things. Once we're aware of their presence, like breathing, like a big, odd-sounding breath, or a mouth click, or a lip smack, or a nose fart, or whatever it is, once we are aware of it, we can't unhear it. We're hyper-focused on these things from that point on. And most people, most casual listeners, don't hear that stuff. They don't hear that stuff. They don't think it's a problem. It sounds like a human talking. Right? They're accustomed to it. That's what people sound like when they talk. So don't spend a lot of time over editing either. We're the only ones that hear that stuff. Donnie says, oh, also on my downtime, I have tweaked my studio and gotten an acting coach. Good for you. Coach Ariel says, thank you, Angela. So good to be here. I'm glad you're here. Alex says, I appreciate this reminder to make sure the time I put in the studio is the most productive it can be. I sometimes forget to plan things out before jumping in. I do too. I mean, sometimes you're just going to have, a wild hair and come in here and go, yep, I'm going to do this. Totally unplanned, but I'm going to do this. And that's cool too. But just make sure that if you're trying to reach a goal, if you're trying to, especially at the beginning when there's so much to do, there's so much, it's very easy to get into that state of overwhelm where there's just so much to do. So you have to chunk it out and block out time to get these things done. And then reward yourself when you get them done, right? But, sometimes you're going to jump in here and just kind of wing it. And that's okay too. But just make sure that you're getting done what needs to be done. Adekoya says, I have actually completed 5 audiobook projects for clients. Good for you. Your YouTube live helps a lot in getting some things right. I think following up on clients is also important. Clients sometimes don't know what they want when I message them. Then they now see the need my voice. Yeah, I've seen that too, where clients aren't really sure what they're looking for. They're actually looking for your creative input. But most of the time they have an idea of what they're looking for. You might even completely change what they thought they wanted. You never know. So that's why I say just, that audition, understand what they're looking for, give it a good, genuine, authentic, good read, and then submit it. Because you never know. You never know. Dylan said, sorry, I've been here, but I'm dealing with cell phone stuff that's driving me crazy. I'm pushing on narrating a book series, but for some reason I feel like I'm not making progress on my business. Like I'm completing projects, but I don't feel like my business is growing. Part of that is a lack of time, but I also just feel stuck as a part-time audiobook narrator. Yeah, I think you might need more presence. I know I've seen you on some platforms, but I think you might need to start making content that's more geared toward the author, perhaps. Like how to find a narrator and things like that. Or maybe just more content on these platforms. And then engaging with people in the book community, not just voiceover, right? So that way your stuff makes it through the interwebs to new people, perhaps. I think it was Caesar said he was a social media strategist or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. Florida D says, first I have to make samples, Angela. I'm not sure where to go with that. What do you mean? For copy? For audiobooks, you could go to Gutenberg.org. That's where all the books in the public domain live. If you're putting up samples on ACX, you can use a book on your shelf. They're okay with you doing that. That's what I would do. You could also use your auditions. If you're looking for commercials or anything other than audiobooks, you could go to ChatGPT and have it write you out a script. And change it. I mean, don't use the script verbatim. You don't have to. You could just use it as like bones for copy and then change a few things. Change the name, change a few things that, suit you. And then use that for copy for making a sample. Alex says IVR, Deb. What's IVR? IVR is interactive voice response. Basically phone trees, phone greetings, phone messages. When you call into your dentist's office, for Dr. Brenda, press 1. For Dr. Jerome, press 2. That's IVR. Caesar says to Alex Gentian, IVR is interactive voice response. Basically those phone messages you hear when you call a company for frontal lobotomies. Yours is much funnier. Donnie says, let me know when you start writing and the wife and I will come down. I rode in Arizona for years. Will do. You betcha, Donnie. Alex says, thanks, Caesar. Joy says, speaking of feedback, I got in feedback. Could you add all in the platinum group? Give me your opinion on them. I got a new XLR mic and I want to make sure I have it set up right. Thanks. I'm sure Caesar's already there. Caesar says to Coach Ariel, on that note, have you considered acquiring iZotope RX11 Standard? That should sort out the clicks beautifully. Yeah, mouth declick in iZotope, the RX suite of plugins. Mouth declick. Money. That plugin is everything. Tycon Delar said, slow down, brain. Tycon Delar says, I spend way too much time watching YouTube videos about voiceover. I changed to only watching them if I need help with a VO-related task. I completed my second audiobook, but I know I can do more. I mean, watch the videos. There's a lot of great content out there, a lot of great content creators with a lot of great information. But don't allow yourself to slip into the procrastinating stage. Where you're like, oh, I just want to watch a few more. And then you're just like mindlessly scrolling. Don't allow yourself to do that. If you have to, put a timer on it. We all have phones. They go everywhere with us. Put a timer on it. Give yourself 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you need to allow yourself the time to just kind of soak in everything online, the screen time, just like our children. Give yourself like screen time allotment. And then once that's up, focus goes back to what needs to be done. Caesar said, I did say I'm a social media strategist. I handled campaigns for Denon, Movado, Gerleek, I don't know what that is, Verizon, and others. Well, there you go. Voiceover Van Deen says, gotta run, break a lip, y'all. Voiceover Angela, get that bike test training done. On it. Donnie says, mouth noise has ruined my life. No, it hasn't. It has not. You're allowing it to. It has not. Coach Ariel says, thanks. I bought some plugins from Waves, declick noise reduction, etc. Now I just have to learn to use them. I was in the exact same place years ago. Play with them. Record. What would I record? I recorded like a nursery rhyme. Mary Had a Little Lamb is what I would record. And then I would just use that raw file to test out all of the effects. And then I could undo them all and then start again. Make notes on your notepad. This is why you should always have a notepad nearby. Make notes on your notepad, like what settings on what effect you changed it to, and then what the result was. And then that way you know what you did that worked or didn't work. But just test. Play with them. That's the best way to learn how to use these things. Janelle says, thanks, Angela. You're the best. Don't forget to like everyone. I do like everyone. I know what you mean. Yes, like the stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks, Janelle. Coach Ariel says, thanks, everyone. Off to do a live. Need to meditate first. Good. Have a great day. Bear says to Coach Ariel, what DAW do you use? I think she's gone. Caesar says to Coach Ariel, say if you need help, I'm around. Need an email address? I think she left to go meditate, which sounds amazing right about now. I think I need to go meditate away allergies or the frog. Perhaps. I think it's about that time. I wanted to tell you guys that I will not be here next Tuesday. I am going to have this live on Wednesday, October the 3rd next week, as I will be out of town with family celebrating Mom's birthday on Tuesday. So I will not have a live that day, but I will move it to Wednesday the following day. So I just want to let you guys know that ahead of time. But if there's anything that you guys want to talk about, anything, burning questions that you'd like the community's opinion on, then please leave it in the comments below. If you're watching this in Team Replay, please consider liking and subscribing. It means the world to me. But other than that, I will see you guys next week on Wednesday, October the 3rd. Bye. Thank you for listening to She-Lancer Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. That's me. For more information about me, visit my website, voiceoverangela.com, or hop on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. Again, thanks for listening. Have a great day.